questions to ask, right? I campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming, don't even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Good evening, everyone. The window's now officially closed. We'll discuss that in a minute. And we've got a game tomorrow. We have a game tomorrow, and it is against Wolves at SELHURST Park, 2:00 kickoff. And as per usual, there's train disruptions. So please do not make your way to Norwood Junction. I believe that's where the issue is. But they're doing regular trains to SELHURST. Fantastic. We've got to fix our transport links around SELHURST Park. It's, as much as we've got 3 stations, there's always issues. JC, how you going, mate?
Yeah, man, had a good sleep. Watched some Netflix, chilled out, man. Just forgot about Palace completely after last night, and now you're forcing me to talk about them again. So, cheers, mate.
I mean, technically, we were there yesterday, so we can skip our side of it.
Yeah. Oh, to be fair, there's not much to cover, is there? We signed Holding on deadline day for £1 million, which ain't that bad. Henderson for too much money. França is an incredible wonder kid, but we have no idea what he's going to be like. And our best signing is a free transfer from Lerma. I think that's the best roundup we could give our window, really.
Yeah, not talking about it no more. It is our honor to have our guest back again. Honestly, a massive friend and fan of the channel. One of the most humble people I know. He has to put up with a lot being Tariq's brother, and does it without complaining. Ed, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, guys. And you guys are a lot more despondent than I thought you'd be about Palace, to be honest.
No, the window was a big L, you know.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I wouldn't say it's a big L, but the 2 areas we needed to address. If we had addressed just one of them, I think everyone would have been okay. Yeah. We needed a striker.
I said it last night on our deadline day stream. As an outsider, you're probably looking at our window thinking that's a good window, but we know where the problems are, and we didn't address any of the problems. So, yeah, man.
Man, it is what it is. But obviously, Ed's here representing Wolves, and that's where we'll start off. Don't worry about us complaining about our window. How was yours? How was your window?
A lot better than I thought it was going to be, thanks to Man City and the sale of Matthias Nunes, I guess. After the smash and grab that we had against Everton last week, I think a lot of us were of the mind that we weren't spending anything. The club basically have said that they weren't going to spend anything. We didn't have any money. Our outgoings were really good, but that was just to offset FFP, if you believe what you believe. And then we sold Matthias Nunes for 50-something million. And with some of that money, we've managed to generate it into what, 3-4 players. And we didn't address the biggest issue, which is up front, but we brought in a couple of central midfielders, which we desperately needed, and a centre back that we desperately needed because Craig Dawson seems to have got old over the summer. So, yeah, a lot better than I thought it was going to be, I think, is the answer to that question. Way better. And I don't think we're going to miss Matthias as much as people think.
Do you think your new signings are going to be thrown straight into it tomorrow? Or do you feel they might need some bedding in process?
I don't. Can they physically come in yet? Because we signed them on deadline day. Is there a cut-off point for when their papers go in?
Yeah, I think there is. I don't know what the time was, but there was a cut-off time on deadline day.
The only one I think of the players that we brought in that potentially has a chance would be Tommy Doyle, just because of he knows the league and the systems a little bit more as everyone else who's signed from abroad. But no, I probably don't see any of them starting tomorrow. And if anything, there might be one on the bench. But again, I don't know if the cut-off date's passed. So because we signed our last guy, the French guy, RHEA like 5-11 last night or something stupid. So I'd imagine he won't be in the running at the best, at least.
Gotcha. Let's talk a bit about Nunez before we talk about your season so far, because obviously his departure has brought in a good financial packet for you. For you personally, are you happy he's gone, or do you think actually, you know what, it's a big loss?
It's probably a big loss, but the fact we only had him for a season means that I think we can probably deal with the fact that he's gone. His ability on the ball was there for all to see. That the way he glided on the pitch, I haven't seen anyone do that in a Wolves shirt before. But his output was 2 goals and 2 assists, I think, in about 30-something games. That's not good enough for someone that you bring in for 40 million. So, yeah, we'll miss him in terms of the superstar value, the what he offered in terms of being able to give him the ball in any situation. He could turn, he could go, but I think we'll be fine without him, truthfully. And the way he left kind of shows the character of the man as well. And I think we are moving away from the Portuguese Jorge Mendes style of things. We have a new director of football, Matt Hobbs, who's a lot more trying to, not to swear on your channel, but going down the Brighton route of trying to find players from different areas of the world and not just what's in Mendes's little black book. And also with that, some British signings as well. So kind of stabilising the club a little bit more and making sure the homegrown quota is ticked off as well, because we were dangerously close over the last few years of not being able to fulfil that as well, because we were over-reliant on Portuguese imports.
Yeah. Sorry, this has just reminded me, you've actually brought in someone from us as well, Sean Derry.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What do you make of that appointment?
It's without trying to tick off the cliches, it's the backroom staff now seems to be a backroom staff that know the league, know the mentality of the team. So we had a physio who the fans called Dr. Death last year, that when a player got injured, we didn't see them again for ages. And Neto, who we'll probably come on to with potential combined 11s, was forced to play on with an ACL tear because he thought he was okay. So I'm happier with more pros in the background, players that have been there and done it and maybe know the league more. And I would say that it's nice to see players that know the Premier League. It's nice to have coaches that maybe can be players coaches as well, because we had a lot of coaches who were never players. And sometimes I think we need that link of, you know what it's like to play in a game. So I'm relatively happy with Gary O'Neill from what I've seen, and the backroom staff he seems to be accruing is an eclectic mix, and I'm very happy with it, to be fair.
Sure. You mentioned combined 11. Before we get into that, it's been a weird start for you, because you had a great performance against United and came out with nothing. Then got absolutely battered by, and we can say Brighton now. We've gone past the acceptance side of it. It is what it is. Against Brighton, obviously. And then you had Everton, which could have gone either way. So you created chances, and they created a lot of chances as well. And fortunately for you, I don't know who your substitute striker was, but he came on and got the decisive goal. Would you say you're pleased with the start?
From where we were 6 days before the season starting, with having no manager and having no plan and having arguably no money to spend, yes. The Man United performance was, I think, a performance that we may see that is more about how bad Man United are than maybe how good we were on the night. I think we exploited their midfield, which is what I think they tried to address in their window. Brighton, we created more chances. Just watched the Newcastle game. We created more chances than Newcastle against them, But for 15 minutes, they blew us off the park. They were phenomenal for only 15 minutes, and that's all it took. The Everton game last week, I think that was more that Everton are truly awful, more than we were good, and we were playing for a point, and then with 5 minutes to go, we threw on the 6'5" Sasa Kalajic that we have on the bench. He might even be taller than that, and lumped it up to him, and made the most of a goal that came off someone's shoulder. I think it was a definite smash and grab. I think Everton in the first half, their XG was almost 3. I think they had some good chances that they missed. So, which is the story of their season. It's the story of our season too. But so yeah, I'm a lot happier than I thought we were going to be at this point. It wasn't an easy start to the season, playing Man United and then Brighton, and then having to go away to a scrappy Everton. But to get 3 points out of it is maybe a point taken away from the Man United debacle at the end. But yeah, much happier than I thought we were going to be, especially when we lost Lopetegui 6 days before the season started.
Sure. Jason's going to take us through some comments.
All right, so Bobby's already in here first. No, he always is, though, to be fair. Nate, who's over in the UK, big up everyone, drop a like on the screen. Be sure to meet us opposite the fan zone after the game for some fan cams. As always, up the Palace. Chairman, what's up? Earth, evening all. Can't believe Newcastle crumbled like that tonight. You don't even want to talk about it. Nicky is here saying his 11 for this game would be Johnstone, Ward, Anderson, Gay, Mitchell, Lerma, Decore, Eze, Ayew, Mateta up top, and I'm guessing Edward on the left.
You know what? I had said that Saki to start, but I actually changed my mind when I slept on it. I think this should be the starting lineup.
He ain't ready. Saki ain't ready. Everyone hitting hat tricks today. Is Mateta hitting another one? Definitely not. JC, I heard chicken and rice and peas was very nice. Well, you heard correct, my friend. Palace windows at L. Main man Ed. Desai is not top 10.
Slander.
Palace windows are okay, but not the greatest. Great post on Twitter today. Brighton brought a Barcelona player involved in the European draw and beat Newcastle. Palace bought Rob Holding. Ed is currently sitting in HMP after Nunes. Nunes leaving was a big dub for the club. I think that's the time the window closed. Cut-off is normally, if you hand slipping, you get an extra 2 or 3 hours. But I know that Palace didn't do nothing. Big up Louis. I'll be honest, Brighton are better than Palace. It's true. We have to be mature enough to admit it because it's true. They're light years ahead of us. And Wolves are unlucky against Everton, Luton, and Chelsea. Chelsea are in the league. Reckon another hard season for them. The only thing is Mateta's here is hitting the post after missing in frustration. After all this talk about combined 11, let's go into the combined 11. So, Ed, you've probably done it already, but we're going to go through each player and I'm going to add them in. And then you have to have at least 3 Palace players or at least 3 Wolves players in this, so it makes it fair. And yeah, we'll go through it, and then after you're done, then me and Rich will give our opinion on it. So we'll start off with the goalkeeper.
So goalkeeper for me could have been one or the other, but I'm going to go with Jose Sarr. I just think he's more of a match winner than Sam Johnston, but it's a coin flip for them. Left back, I've got Tyreek Mitchell. I think defensively he's much better than either of our 2 left backs. I think our left backs are better going forward. Right back, I've gone for Nelson Semedo. I just think he's a better player than Joel Ward. In the middle, this is where I found it difficult. So Gay, is a lock. He's probably the best centre back, maybe outside of. I don't know. He should be starting for England for me. I think he's that good. And then I'm between Kilman or Anderson. I like them both. I think Kilman his leadership is great, but I don't think he's necessarily better than Anderson. So I've gone with Anderson at centre back as well. Okay. And then 3 midfield, I've gone for Decore, who I think is brilliant. Lamina and probably the best player outside the top 6 in RHEA.
Is that Lamina?
Yeah,
From Nice?
yeah. And this forward line is you pick any of them and they're all going to disappoint you. So I've gone for Neto on the left, which is what I'm hoping we do tomorrow to try and exploit Joel Ward. And I've gone for Cunha on the right, just because Huang's injured, or else I probably would have gone for Huang. And then I've gone for Edouard in the middle.
So normally when we do combined 11s, we're sitting here going, yeah, that's a good team. This team is still dry.
You know what we should do? I'm sorry, we forgot to mention. You know, Ed, what would your combined 11 be if injuries weren't a factor? Just out of curiosity.
If injuries weren't a factor, I would move.
Oh, then Ed, I don't know if sounds like you're in the Antarctic now.
Is that me?
No, it's just you, mate. Because I can hear Ed fine again.
You're joking.
Yeah, I hear Ed's fine. If Ed speaks, it sounds fine to me.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me jump out and jump back in again.
All right, so yeah, who would you change, Ed?
So to answer that without injuries, I'd probably move Keeney to the middle for Edouard, and I'd probably have Huang on the right. That is probably the only change I'd make.
Sorry, Elise.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Elise. I forgot about your injuries. Yeah, Elise for Huang easy then. I'd forgotten about Elise completely.
All right, because that was where we was gonna jump to straight away. I was gonna.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't consider your injuries, to be fair.
Is there anything I would change, even if injuries weren't a problem? I don't know. I think the only one I can probably put a shout out there for is probably Lerma for us.
Yeah, Lerma's really good too.
Because Lerma's probably been our player of the season so far. He's been absolutely incredible. And obviously, you watch Wolves, you watch Lamina. I watch Palace. I don't watch Lamina. I watch Lerma. So it's probably whoever wins the argument really, or whoever's got more friends is going to get that one.
They're very similar players, I would say, as well. So I think again that was another toss up. But to be fair, when I was doing the combined 11, there was more Palace players than Wolves players at one point. So I felt like I was shoehorning my own team in. To be fair.
Well, the thing is what we said earlier about the transfer window. We didn't address the key areas. Our key areas are left wing and full and striker, and we have. Our best option is playing Edouard, who's our best striker, on the wing, just so we have someone better on the wing and have a pretty dreadful striker up top. That's the only way we can play this season. But even with no injuries, this team is still dry.
Yeah, we're heavily reliant on Fabio Silva as well, who will probably start tomorrow up front. He's a very willing runner. But he's still very raw and very unproven at this level as well.
He had a good season in the Dutch league last season.
Yeah,
where he won a trophy there in the PSV.
Yeah,
or was he at final?
He started well for Anderlecht and then fell out with the manager, and then went to PSV, and PSV were desperate to keep him again. So yeah, they were.
He's a good player.
Yeah, his movement is insane. He doesn't stop moving, and he wants the ball for such a young player as well. But it's just very raw, and obviously he has that huge 30 million price tag on his head as well, which isn't easy for him to hold.
Because when we were doing because we do a show called Tactics where we break down the tactics and stuff, is that he seems to be pretty a very good all around striker. It's just the finishing which he struggles with really. Like the one that pokes out to me was when he was clean through against Everton. All he had to do was lift it over the keeper, but he put it wide. But something like that, you'd probably expect a £30 million striker to put away.
Oh yes, definitely. And he looks so confident whilst he misses as well. He's barely looking at the ball, which is the other thing to think about as well. He's looking almost doing a no look shot, and he hits it 4 or 5 yards wide. So the confidence is there. But yeah, He's scored 2 offside goals this year. He scored against Blackpool in the Cup on Tuesday. I was there. He was unbelievable, but obviously he was playing against poor League One opposition. He's definitely seems to be that archetypal forward who, if you give him any time, he misses. If it's a snapshot, there's a good chance it's going to be on target at the very least.
That's hilarious that you say that, because we sit here and say the exact same thing about Mateta. If you give him time to think about the shot, he'll miss. If he hits it instinctively, he'll score.
Yeah. And I guess that's why those strikers are at our clubs, right? Middle of the road Premier League clubs. If they had that clinical finishing, they would be either at bigger clubs or clubs that are sniffing around would be from higher in the league than ours as well. So I think that's where you have to unearth that gem, and it's so difficult to do that, especially with strikers.
With obviously, as you said earlier, with Wolves coming away from the Portuguese thing and having Gary O'Neill coming in, even though he's only had a few weeks, maybe even a month, to put his ideas forward and his playing style forward, how do you think the Wolves players have gravitated to him? Do you think they're buying into his philosophy, or are there still a bit of rough patches trying to adjust to it?
No, I think they've bought in. We're creating chances, which last year we just weren't doing. That's the biggest difference between us last year and this year. So the smash and grab 2-0 that we got last year against you guys was one of the few games we scored more than one goal in. We are creating chances, which is the most different thing we've done, and that seems to have been since Gary O'Neill has been in charge. And some of the not deadwood, because some of the players that didn't want to be here, we are getting rid of, like Podence. We're still trying to sell him to Saudi Arabia. We've got rid of Mateus, who clearly didn't want to be here.
I'm sorry, the chat
You
is
don't want
killing me.
Yeah, well, Ed, sorry to cut you here, but we're going to go into the chat. So we've got some US presidents. We've got Barack Obama saying that Mateta is underrated, honestly. And then you got man like Donald Trump coming in saying, shut up, Obama, he is crap, let's say. And then Michael B. Jordan.
Wow, you guys have gone big.
I get it if it's a Bournemouth stream, but right now I don't get why you're here, big man. But and then Mikel Arteta, you're back. Crystal Palace is man. Yeah, man. So when did you get so popular? James Bond's even here as well. Like, it's crazy.
You think Donald Trump would have more important things to be dealing with right now, right?
Clearly not.
To be fair to 007, beat the drop. Yeah, that show's fun to do. To be honest, it is a good laugh.
And Mahatma Gandhi's back from the dead.
Oh dear.
Tariq Sniper.
Someone's quick on the burner. I can't.
Yeah, they are.
How many burners is that though? Like,
Well, as long as they're subscribed, right? That's all that matters.
Absolutely.
yeah, man.
They all count.
Hey, Barack. It's HMRC's back. Oh
man. Fair play to the chat. Fair play. Boy. Right. We briefly discussed this yesterday, JC.
yeah.
We have to go Eddie Mateta, IU, don't we?
You have to. Really. Unless you want to keep playing Schlapp. But
No. He showed against Plymouth that he's better off the bench.
But when he came off when he played in central midfield, when he came off the bench, he weren't a left winger.
Yeah, he went to left there.
He's been played as a left winger. He ain't no left winger. He's the worst winger I've ever seen in my life. He's just so bad. He hides from the ball. Hey, yo.
No.
How did my man come in here?
Yeah, we just can't put that comment up, but we'll laugh about it.
As I said, Schlupp is dead. So you have to play our best forward
I think
out
he's
wide.
so bad that even Ali's had enough.
The thing is, you're right, because Ali said no. Like normally he's joking about playing Schlupp false man, but because of how bad he's been, Ali genuinely said as a joke this time.
It is crazy.
It's mad.
It is mad. But I think that's the only to beat them. We're just gonna have to be on the front foot, just constantly, but be mindful that they are decent on the break. You know, like the Cunha's running ability is stupid. You know, fair play to him. So I guess if he does play on the right hand side, Mitchell defensively, okay, could do a decent job. But like I said, on the break, like because Mitchell has to, because we've got no width, Mitchell ends up finding himself in the box, and that's where we could get caught out, unless obviously Lerma tucks in. So we've definitely got to be mindful of that. I've always liked Neto as a player. Like I said, if Podence wants to leave, just rip up his contract and send him to us on a free transfer.
You don't want him. You don't want him. He would mess up any harmony you may or may not have. He's
Harmony
even got his own
on the left wing.
I just meant in general in the squad. His own teammates are leaving Instagram comments about how annoying he is, and how he has a lot of his dirty linen on Instagram, and he falls out with a lot of people and a lot of players. So Celtic wanted him, but then wouldn't give us any money for him. And then when we agreed something, they then went, "Oh, actually, it's probably not worth it." So you don't want to play like that.
Fair enough. But I think, just on the note of your players, I was very surprised you put Mitchell ahead of is it Bueno?
Bueno, yeah. I like Bueno. He kind of burst onto the scene, getting the assist at Selhurst Park last year, crossing into Adama. I rate him highly. He was a number 10 when we brought him, and we've kind of transported him into being a left back. I just think Mitchell's defensive ability, I was trying to think of balance as well. So Semedo is a more attacking right back. So I thought Mitchell, as the counteracting part of that, is why I put him at left back. But yeah, Bueno is a talent and probably will start tomorrow, I would say. There's rumours that because Hwang's injured, and there seems to be this new thing with Neto having to play on the right to cut inside, which he's terrible at, that we may play Aït-Nouri in front of him. So we might have two left backs as our left-hand side is one to look out for.
I remember when we done that a few years ago, and that turned out terribly. Because that was when, I think it was in the 2017-18 season, where we had, I think Zaha was injured, and I think that we tried to play Van Arnold as our left winger and Schlupp as our left back, and that went so badly. I can't remember who it was against, but it was probably one of the worst games I've ever seen us play. So
Aït-Nouri's played that left wing position a few times in all three managers that we've had. So Nuno, Lopetegui, and now Gary O'Neill. Played it against Everton towards the end of the game, and it makes narrow pitches wider for us, which is maybe something to look out for with Selhurst Park. But and the Molyneux, to be fair,
Schlupp, like as you said, make narrow pitches wide. Schlupp seems to make wide pitches narrow. Like that's how that's how it goes.
No, there was one image. Was it against Brentford where he's meant to be our left winger, and he's like behind Eze.
He's tucked in further than our midfielder, and he's meant to be our wide player.
Yep,
it is crazy.
Going back into the chat, we see Drake is here. So how's it going, Drake? You've got a few quid that you could lend Crystal Palace, and that would be lovely. Captain America's also here, but we can't put it up. Vibes is clearly laughing a lot. Don Smith, my prediction is 3-1 Palace win. I'll take it. I'll take it. Mateta, you want to... Mate, Arteta, yeah? Mikel Artapas, you take him. How much does he want a week? Give him whatever he wants. He's world class. He scored a hat-trick against Plymouth. No, Mikel, bare French. Can't speak French. And Drake is saying his card declined. So it is what it is.
Ah, boy. Sorry, I've been thrown way off. All right. Ed, how did you beat Palace?
I think your central midfield worries us. I think with Lerma and Decore, they are ballers that don't mind putting their foot in. We have two ourselves in Joao Gomez and Lamina. So that is where I think the game is going to be won or lost. For me, without trying to be a broken record, I think where we could get some successes on the left, our left, your right. I know IE does his doggies and he does his defensive work, but I think he's beatable, as is Joel Ward, which is why I'd play, if it was me, I'd play Neto and Bueno on the left, really stretch the pitch and really go at your right-hand side. And in all honesty, I think it's with your central defence, it's going to take a good move to get us in and around your box and be a threat. We're going to win nothing in the air against those two. So it's going to have to be good interplay and maybe one of those runs from Kuna. There's a potential that Sarabia plays on the right as well, and that's where you guys could get your pickings. To be honest, yeah, he flatters to deceive. He's a bit of a flat track bully at times, and he's not interested in going that way. So if you can exploit our right, then there's a good chance, because Semedo is often left on his own, which makes him look way worse than a player than he actually is. He's often left on an island by himself, where people start to scapegoat him in the Wolves fan base, but he doesn't. He has no support in front of him. He's like a budget Trent.
Fair dues. JC, how do we beat Wolves?
We try and shut down their link-up play. I think that's how we do it, because as Ed said, they're not the best when going out wide, but what they like to do is they like to have, I guess, one player which will drive with the ball, pop it off other players and keep running straight through, and that's sort of very similar to what Gary O'Neill done at Bournemouth. Mm-hmm. So it's very risk-reward kind of play style that they play. So if you can beat the press, or if their whole team starts flooding forward, if you can nick the ball and then break quickly, they're going to be standing in no man's land. So as Ed said, that they'll leave Semedo on his own. Like the centre backs will probably be like they won't have protection in front of them from the midfield, because they'll go up as well. So being able to stop the 1-2s and the quick passes, and I wouldn't say like maybe not foul them, but get in the way of these driving runs. So for example, I know Nunes was probably the main guy, when he picked up the ball from wide, drives inside, popping it off players. I wouldn't say we like get in the way of them, but you just make it harder for them to make that run fast. So you just sort of stand in their way. If they run into you, it's a foul to us. Make it harder for them to play through us. Keep it compact. Don't give them space in behind. No half spaces. You're whack. Just make it so it's hard for them to pass to each other. I wouldn't say man for man mark them, but I'd say a mixture of zonal to man marking, which will be a good way of stopping them, I think.
Just very quickly, Ed. Now that Nunes is gone, is it Lamina just the only holding midfielder?
No, Joao Gomez and Lamina are our holding midfielders / destroyers. Lamina doesn't tend to venture forward. Joao Gomez certainly can, and we bought him as that, but then we haven't played him as that because we've had Matthias. So it'll be interesting to see what it's going to be like without Nunes now, to see who he plays in the middle. with him, and whether Gomez does a little bit more of the ball progression, which is what we signed him for from Brazil. He actually, I think he's teammates and friends with your new wonder kid, I believe, as well. I think they played together at Flamengo. So I think they know each other quite well.
Cool. Yeah, like I mentioned, I think on the press, and obviously we're just gonna have to be clinical because Sarr is an incredible keeper, by the way. You know, and he will save almost anything we make. So we have to be clinical, and Palace and clinical are not two words that normally marry up. So it potentially will be a very low scoring game, potentially. Or it'll be a basketball score. It'll be absolutely in chaos. But yeah, unless Rob Holding can play right back, it's going to be Joe Ward. You know.
Where is Holding going to play? That was a question I was going to ask you guys.
On the bench.
Is he there literally as a backup centre back? Is that what his role is now?
We're hoping fourth choice. He could potentially be third.
Yeah, I reckon it's just a squad depth thing, because Anderson has a little knack of getting injured, and last season, so Anderson likes to get injured, and our other centre back Richards also loves to get injured. So next up is James Tompkins, who's a fossil when it comes to football. So I think we needed someone else who's a bit more reliable when it comes to backups. So I think that's why. I don't think he's ever played right back, but if he can, he could probably play it better than Ward. But you know, it is what it is. We're not surprised as Palace fans that we don't address what's needed to be addressed.
No, absolutely. I guess this is a good time to just get score predictions in and wrap up. I mean, I know you sent them through to me, Ed, but what is your score prediction for tomorrow?
1-1, I think I said for this game, I believe. I think 1-1 is a fair result. I don't see either team being clinical. But I also don't see Wolves keeping a clean sheet. So with that, I've got to go for a 1-1 and hopefully come away with 4 points. 4 points from 4 games. Point a game means we get 38 at the end of the season. That should be enough to keep us up. That's where I am at the minute while we're in the middle of this strange rebuild that's been forced upon us.
Ready, JC?
I say 1-0 Palace. I don't think that it's going to be very high scoring at all. I think purely the fact that we're at home is going to make a difference. But, you know, it could be 1-1, but I highly doubt it's going to be very high scoring at all. We have kept 2 clean sheets out of 3 games so far. I think, was it 2 clean sheets? Yeah, I can't remember.
No, wait, just one.
Sheffield
Fulham.
Just Sheffield.
I swear it's 2.
No, we lost to Arsenal and we drew with Brentford 1-1.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Didn't you beat Fulham?
No, I haven't played Fulham yet.
Who was that?
But yeah, I think 1-0. Really, I think if we can stop the progressive runs, and I think Decore and Lerma can stop that, and if they get through them, I'm sure that Gay and Anderson could be able to sweep up as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if we drew or even lost this game.
Yeah, I went for 2-0. And that was partly before the window closed, partly. And obviously, it was definitely before the window closed because our predictions had to be in. And then the window closed, and I'm just like, actually, I don't know. But I'll say 2-1 Palace, even though my prediction says 2-0.
We never win at Selhurst Park. That's the other thing. We never win against Brighton, or we never win at Palace. Who was the right back that scored a hat trick against us in the FA Cup back in the day? Is it Butterfield? Yeah, that's the kind of thing we have against Palace. Is a right back can play up front and score 3. So that's always in our mind as well as Wolves fans. with the Palace.
Ah, boy. We're just gonna have to wait and see. We're just going to have to wait and see. Ed, thank you. Thank you for your time. Obviously, all the best for the rest of the season. Apart from tomorrow, obviously. I don't know. Are you still doing bits with Tariq?
No, family life's kind of taken over a little bit, to be fair. So it's been difficult to make some time for regular things. But yeah, hopefully we'll do it at some point, maybe after Christmas or when things start. I started a new job and things kind of have snowballed a little bit. So yeah, not at the moment. I'm always supporting him, always helping him out with bits and pieces. But yeah, no, nothing on streams at the minute. No. But if you aren't subscribed, make sure you get subscribed to Tariq Talks.
Yeah, please do, guys. And when you do return with a quiz. And, I mean, just quickly, someone went on Botswana. So that's Audrey from the main group. His one, and Botswana asked the question, and the guy shouted out, and you can hear it go doo doo. And then he shouted out and repeated the question. I'll see if I can find the clip. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
my gosh.
Yeah, well, we have previous for that, don't we? So, yeah, let's get only reputable people for the next one, definitely.
Dulwich helmet.
Yep.
Anyway, before Head punches us all up for bringing this back up, JC, big up. Where can everyone find you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no. There, I believe.
You're still struggling with that, JC.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I think the last few streams we've been too upset to even shout out. It's just turn it off, please. Can't do it anymore.
Guys, like, share, subscribe, and listen. Fan cams will be out tomorrow, and obviously, if you want to come and have your say after the game, come find us outside the fan zone. Up the Palace, I guess.
Ego!